Leslie and Eric are fraternal twins who developed a little differently than most siblings, but not necessarily in a bad way. When they were young, they grew up like most babies and toddlers, happy as can be as long as they had a clean diaper and food in their stomachs and parents to love them. As Leslie and Eric entered the toddler stage, they became playmates. Most little kids don't know kids their age before they go into school, but Leslie and Eric were the same age and liked the same things. They were never bored and always had a friend to play with. Eric was much more independent and didn't always like playing with Leslie. He wanted to be by himself, not with his sister all the time. Leslie didn't know what to do without Eric and always felt the need to be with him, or she felt lost. When it came time to start school, Leslie struggled a lot. She had a very hard time making friends other than Eric. But Eric was making friends and again did not want to be with his sister. As the years went on, Leslie did make friends, but Eric still had more and still didn't want to play with his sister all the time. 3rd grade was the last year that they were in the same class together. By this time, Leslie had made enough friends that she felt okay to be without Eric. Eric adjusted well, other than academically. Eric struggled with school and needed help with reading. Eric also learned that he had a hard time paying attention in school. Leslie was an average A and B student, while Eric was not. This continued throughout their school careers. By the time middle school came around, Eric and Leslie often fought with each other. They had their own friends, but they struggled to know whose friends were whose. Leslie liked hanging out with all of Eric's friends, but Eric hated that, and he didn't always like Leslie's friends. Leslie didn't know what to do. She felt unwanted. But Eric just wanted his space because he always saw Leslie. Why should he have to hang out with her at school too? Life was hard for them. They did not get along at all, and they almost felt their parents were showing favoritism to the other. Being a twin while trying to figure out their identity was not easy. Eric didn't always want to be Leslie's twin brother, and Leslie did not want to be just Eric's twin sister. They wanted to be themselves and wanted people to like them for them, not for their other half. High school only brought on more challenges. Life at home was starting to be hard. There was so much fighting, and their parents wondered if they would ever get along. Eric struggled in school and fully concentrated on his social life. Leslie had good grades but struggled with her social life. Life went on, and they avoided each other as much as they could, but Leslie still felt left out, and Eric was still frustrated. It wasn't until the middle of high school when Leslie and Eric finally stopped fighting. Leslie had been hurt by all her friends and realized she had no true friends. Eric saw his sister hurting and decided to invite her to sit with his friends. Eric also became very protective and made sure that her friends wouldn't hurt her anymore. Eric also went through some hard times at that point and with a friend, and it was then that Leslie was there for him to offer some kind advice. Leslie and Eric became best friends that year, and things stayed that way. They were only able to become best friends because they realized what their parents had said their entire lives was true. They had to learn to practice patience. They also had to learn to practice kindness. And finally, they had to make sure that they knew their boundaries and gave each other space. College was hard because they were apart, but with Skype and holidays at home, things were just fine. Being twins when they were young was not easy, and it brought many challenges, but it also brought many blessings. Leslie and Eric became best friends. They could talk about anything in life because the other was experiencing the same thing, and they knew exactly what the other was going through. In reality, they weren't that much different than any other siblings.